Welcome to Super Bowl week. Congratulations, you got here before the commissioner got here. I have to say we're very impressed and thankful that you could all come and spend this time with us. And I want to, the Brand Innovators team, they're terrific. I think you all know that. Every city, every time we have one of these big events, they just do a killer job. So thanks for that, and thanks for inviting us to be a part of it. Listen, coming from the NFL, I could, of course, talk about lots of different things this week. When I first joined the NFL, I could not believe the level of precision and orchestration to put this event on. It's like a full week, right? It's like a cultural event. It's like every single day, and of course, then the big game. And just the game itself, if you know what's involved and the precision that goes into working and the coordination and collaboration that goes into putting on that event, it is mind-blowing. But I thought today it would be great to talk about partnerships, right? Because even, at the NFL, we put on this big game every year. If we didn't have close partnerships with many folks and organizations, there's no way that we could put that on. And all of you, I know you're in marketing and advertising, you all know that as well, that without your core partners, there's just no way that you can be successful. Whether you're on the agency side or the marketing side, without those partnerships, you're really, you're not able to do the things that you could do. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about partnerships. Artis here, he and I are very close. We have a special relationship because not only are we very close partners at the NFL, big brothers, big sisters of America, but I'm also on the national board. I met Artis just last year. We hit it off immediately. And when we went out to dinner one night and he asked me to if I was interested in being on the board, I about fell off my chair. I was so excited that he even would mention it. I was really afraid I'd not pass my background check, but it's been a wonderful experience already, and again, I'm really proud to be with Artis and his team. He's also got a terrific team. And then we're going to get Glenn up here from 72 and Sunny pretty soon. They're pretty badass themselves, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to work together in a good way. Glenn and I have been working together now for 11 years, huh? Yeah, so almost 4.5, 5 years for the NFL, and then 6 for Activision. So I wanted to just briefly talk a little bit about the NFL and how we approach our overall program. There's really two sides of how we look at our marketing and our branding. One is about the game itself, we'll talk a little bit about that fandom and how do you bring in fandom, how do you keep the game relevant and keep it sort of the funnel, if you will, full of younger kids and people continuing to future-proof the NFL. But the other side of it is how do you use the force and the power and the influence of the NFL for good? How do you leverage that? And that's a really big part of our overall program. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that today. We had an interesting conversation at breakfast this morning about, the shield. The NFL shield. When I came to the NFL, a lot of talk about you got to protect the shield, got to protect that shield, and I almost felt like the shield was like a police force almost, right? They were sort of making judgments on things and ensuring that everybody followed the rules. But the longer I've worked here and the more I think about it, the shield is really about sort of power for good, power for uniting people, right? So yes, of course we put on these great events to entertain people, to bring people together, but we also do lots of things to sort of unite people for in a force for good. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. But you can see the numbers there. I don't have to convince this group, how strong the NFL is right now. I am proud of the fact that we continue to grow. During my tenure there, we put a lot of effort into diversifying and bringing in more women, more Latinos, more younger audiences, and I'm happy to say that we are doing that. And that, of course, is exciting. I think it keeps the NFL relevant, but it also helps us, I think, just bring in more people. When we talk about the power of partnerships, we talk a lot about ecosystem, right? And the NFL in itself, we have 200 million people watch the game this Sunday, which is kind of mind-boggling. And in any given game during the year, we'll bring in 20, 30 million people to watch this game. But really, the power of the NFL is not just the fans, but it's all the communities and the people, the partners who work with us. And one of the sort of things that really hit me when I joined the NFL is like, well, let's just not think about our earned and known. I mean, it's big. Like, we have over 100 million people who just pay attention to the earned and known channels of the NFL. But what if we added all the players, right? What if they became part of our force for good and our force for bringing people, to the NFL, and then all the colleges, and then all the influencers who love this game. Before you know it, you're talking literally billions of impressions and billions of people who potentially become that army for the NFL. And so, this has been a journey of ours, and I'm happy to say that when we look at the NFL, yes, we look to celebrate the game. We look to put a sort of face on the game, which is a more human face, a more compassionate face. And then, of course, we're always looking at diversity and inclusion. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that today and the importance of that. And that has allowed us to sort of break down some barriers and bring people closer to the NFL. Because I'll be honest with you, when I first joined, there were some pretty big communities, particularly like the music industry and some of the artist communities. They didn't want to have anything to do with the NFL. And we'd made some mistakes in the past, and they didn't feel like we'd been open enough about that and being transparent enough about it. We weren't showing a degree of contrition. And I think that they were really looking for the NFL to be more open, to be more transparent, to be willing to say that, yeah, we made some mistakes and we're learning from that and we're going to move ahead. And I think doing that has really helped us bring these communities closer together, and it's made us all the more powerful. And I'm going to show you some of that work today. So again, just to kind of recap, if you look at that, it is on the one hand, it's really a two-pronged strategy. Let's celebrate the game. Let's bring people closer to the game and find ways to do that, innovative ways to do that. If any of you saw, for example, the Pro Bowl last week, that, for me, that was like amazing. We have what we call our helmets off strategy, right? And that was one of the things that was most important to me. As you can imagine, all of our players, when they play, even when they score, have their helmets on, right? So nobody knows who they are. They know these are great, they know the name on the back of their jersey, and they know they're great world-class elite athletes, but they didn't know who they were as people. Right? They didn't know who they were as human beings, what they cared about, what they were passionate about. And not just in sports, but in, music and gaming and fashion or fitness. So we decided that we really needed to get behind these players, have the players be the face, right, of the NFL. And let's get behind the things that they care about. And a lot of the things that they care about have to do with philanthropic endeavors. And that for us has been very important because, the NFL spends about $500 million a year just on these efforts. And it's important for us to sort of shine a light on these things, talk about what goes into them, and then actually walk the walk, get involved, roll up your sleeves and be a part of it. So, when people talked about like, well, let's not have performative marketing, or let's not just, throw money at a problem. It actually takes all three, right? You got to use that platform, right, to create awareness and understanding of these important issues. But then you also have to donate, right? You have to get, artists will talk about that. If you don't have the money, you don't have a way to really get much done, okay? And then you have to sort of be close, understand it, literally partner, show up, and be a part of what's going down. So those three things, all of them, are equally as important. I think Artis will attest to that and talk a little bit about that today. Okay, so I'm going to show a spot right now. I hope all of you can see it. And it's a spot that it's under the We See You campaign. We launched that this year. 72 and Sunny put this together with us. I think it's a very emotional, moving. I hope you agree with that. But it's basically the umbrella for all of our cause marketing that we do per year. So we decided, rather than just doing an individual campaign for every cause that we promote, that we would start to put everything under one umbrella, and that then every single campaign that we did, whether it be around prevention of cancer, salute to service, mentoring, that all that would be under the We See You campaign. Okay.
Every Sunday you watch us. But just so you know, we see you too. We see you in the 9th Ward, in Liberty City. Our names on your back, our pictures on your walls.
We see you in Ybor City, in North Lawndale. The moms looking for a safe place to raise their kids.
We see you. We see you serving at home and abroad. The heroes who have risked their lives to protect ours.
Our son died just over a year ago, and the Rams doing all of this takes us away from that.
We see you in the hospitals and cancer wards. Those fighting every single day.
You're a huge Chiefs fan, man.
We see you because your challenges are our challenges.
Your neighborhoods are our neighborhoods.
Your fight is our fight.
To be out here in the community, give some hope, share some grief. That's how we're gonna get past this.
The whole world watches us. But now, they're gonna see you too.
Thank you. I'll say this. These guys come out, they care deeply about this stuff. They come out and they work with us on these commercials. Obviously, they have another job to do, and they don't get paid much to do this, hardly anything. But it's never hard for me to find people to do this work. Like the players want to do it. They want to be out there. They want to be a part of it. So I have to say that's one of the most rewarding parts of my job. So the next, I told you about, that was the umbrella. So here's one example. It happens to be about mentoring, which obviously is close to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. So let's take a look.
To the mentors stepping up, being game changers in your community, we see you. We see you, Jimmy, jumping off the sidelines to be a supportive role model. We see you, Josh, creating spaces to help students overcome the digital divide. We see you, Kristen, helping young people make moves for a better future. We see how all the hours you put in bring hope to our communities. We see you, and we're here to help you create lasting change.
Okay, Artis.
What's up, my friend? So listen, I know Tim mentioned about him falling out of the chair when I asked him to join the board. But if any of you know Tim, one, this is one of the busiest guys that I know, right? But it also just says a lot that he jumped at joining this board and the connectivity on this board because of how much he cares and his passion, right? And that to me is at the core of everything that we're talking about. People and passion. Tim is an incredible demonstration of that. And I'm thankful for him and his vision and the partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. But it's all about this idea when it says it takes all of us, right? The individual passion that we have, and he's exactly right about the NFL being a force for good, right? So what I wanted to do is share a little bit about how Big Brothers Big Sisters and the NFL partnership helps to bring to life the approach that Tim just outlined, right? And I'll do this briefly, but there's a couple of things that I want to make sure that I know. There we go. So quick question, just by show of hands. How many of you in this room have heard of Big Brothers Big Sisters before? All right. Pretty significant size. Thank you, guys. And then secondly, how many of you have been involved in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, as a big, as a little? Wow. I always love to see those hands because it talks about this mission and what this mission is about. When you think about what we do, right? We are a 119-year-old organization. We are the largest and preeminent youth mentoring brand in the country. Why are we so aligned with the NFL? Scale, 5,000 communities. We can activate pretty much anywhere in America. Connection. We have a built-in fandom ourselves, the 20 million alumni, right? People who've been affected, who've been connected with this brand and this mission, right? Our favorability of our brand, it's recognizable, right? It invokes trust, passion, action. And then the most important thing, 6 million. Those are the number of young people, volunteers, families we've impacted. Because it's about outcomes at the end of the day, and outcomes is what produces stories. So when we got together several years ago with the NFL, it all started with a core belief. And the core belief was essentially this, that when we come to the table, it's coming to the table as more than just a charity to support, but more as a partner that creates value. And when we talked about value, we said, let's look at like 3 things that define what the value proposition is in terms of this relationship. One, and first and foremost, was authenticity, right? So here's why we're authentic with the NFL. Every single NFL team is connected with the local big brothers, big sisters in their community. That means players getting involved. That means coaches getting involved. That means team managers, leaders, professionals getting involved. On the ground, it is real and it is actionable. It's not just talk, but it's substantial, and it is subject to the idea of seeing it and seeing it as a living testimony in people's lives. Secondly, a significant portion of NFL players are big brothers, big sisters alums. So the story and the richness of the story is already there because it's living proof of these individuals who've been impacted by big brothers, big sisters. So the richness of storytelling and the outcomes are there in the players themselves, and they raise their hands to get involved and to get engaged. And then thirdly, leadership. So you heard Tim talk about his connection to the board. We also have that on the local level, owners, team leaders who are connected in local communities. Roger Goodell is a former big in our program. He serves on a local Big Brothers board in New York City. This is not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. And Tim mentioned about investment. So we've been a partner of the social justice initiative Inspire Change that invests in our programs to help ensure that young people get more access to mentorship and opportunity. But here's what it looks like when you have authenticity, because authenticity truly leads to experience, right? And one of the most unique things, and we just wrapped up the series of events that we've done that Tim and his team, the incredible NFL team, brought to the table with a partner in the shoe surgeon. Tim, talk a little bit about this, because I want us to set this video up.
Well, I like shoes. My wife finds out how much I paid for this last week. She's going to kill me. No, we listen. As I said earlier, like we really look to how do you connect with younger audiences. So fashion is important, right? Because kids care about that stuff. So we have this relationship with a guy named the shoe surgeon. You guys know the shoe surgeon? All right, well, he's incredible. He's a real and amazing genius artist, and he essentially takes like all these Nike shoes, Jordans and Dunks, and he creates these incredible customized shoes. And players and athletes will pay thousands and thousands of dollars for these shoes. He's like designed Bentleys and all kinds of stuff. And he's also a really genuinely great guy. And so we not only do sort of things with him to sort of attract younger people, but we also put together clinics, and we had this great program that we just did this last year. All over the country, we held clinics together with Shoe Surgeon, where we invited bigs and littles to come, right, to a clinic and learn how to design shoes, and then come together and obviously interact then also with NFL players. So we had NFL players, and then the kids and the bigs and the littles and Shoe Surgeon all giving their time in order to, I think, put on a pretty amazing series of events. And we're going to show a video right now of the first one that we did in New York.
Design and create your life, your journey, your path. So just as much as you're designing the shoes is knowing that you design your steps, where you go, and the direction that you achieve in life.
Hey, lace 'em up, lace 'em up, lace 'em up, lace 'em. Blue suede shoes stay crispy like bacon. Nikes on my feet make my cipher complete. I stay shining like the lights on the street in the night. Reavers take me shopping when I'm up in New York. Hit the shoe store, go and cop a few more. You at the mall getting dinner at the food court. I'm in LA eating 22 course. Young boss, paper in my pockets. I got a closet filled with shoe boxes.
Pretty cool, huh? I mean, again, I think that's a great example of, like, this helps big brothers get obviously awareness and stuff, because we put all this stuff on our channels and it creates the awareness there. It's great for Dominic, the shoe surgeon, as well, and for us from the NFL. So yes, it's working towards being a force for good, but it's also helping us, create awareness about our brands, and helps us be, successful.
Yeah, and speaking of awareness, the final part is really around the story that we've created. And that we continue to create through this partnership. And one that I want to just talk about briefly and end on this is, the story that we tell every single day with our mentors. Powerful stories lead to powerful outcomes, right? So one of the things that we did with the NFL is we came around the table. We have 30,000 kids on our waiting list, right, today. Most of those kids are boys, and they're waiting for male mentors. So we came to the NFL and we said, hey, we got to take on this challenge, and we need to bring our collective strength and our collective power together. And the NFL raised their hand and said, let's do this. Let's come together and create something. So we created this campaign that we've been doing annually called the Big Draft. And here's the concept. It's really simple but powerful of the Big Draft. It starts at the end of Super Bowl and goes all the way up until the NFL draft, where as the NFL is drafting the next round of players, Big Brothers Big Sisters is drafting the next round of mentors, right? So the NFL then puts their marketing, players, and content around telling this story and activating it in really incredible and creative ways. And here's the most successful thing about this. Have we been able to get players involved and engaged from all stripes? Past players, current players, future players? Absolutely. Have we been able to create more experiences where partners, an alignment of new partners to come to the table to invest in mentoring programs? Yes. But it's been the single largest campaign that's led to more men coming into our organization. We've created 40,000 leads of men coming into our organizations because of this one campaign that we do every single year. And it wouldn't be possible without authenticity, without experience, and without the story and the relationship with the NFL. So I want to show you this last video, and this video is one of our new ambassadors for this year, Rachaad White, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a segment that aired on NBC Nightly News that talks about the power and the magic and why this relationship matters and why it matters for so many people across this country, especially young people.
It was his biggest moment yet. Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Rachaad White, number 29, scoring his first touchdown in the NFL. John Waller was watching at home on the edge of his seat when Rachaad was 8 in Kansas City, Missouri. John signed up to be his big brother through Big Brothers Big Sisters.
We started talking about sports and school, and the bond was formed immediately.
Rachaad has a strong family, but he's experienced gun violence in his life.
You've had some challenges, right, Rachaad?
Yes.
When John moved away, he stayed in touch, helping guide Rachaad. They took to calling each other broski.
And he started playing running back, and he excelled immediately at running back.
So, of course, John was there for the NFL draft.
He's like, I'm going to Tampa. And so we all lose our minds.
How we feeling, broski?
There for his very first Bucs game.
Thank you, man. Yeah, all love, dude.
Now they swap stories about being dads.
What would you say to Rachaad?
I love you, broski, and you know where to find me if you ever need anything.
I love you too, broski. I thank you a lot for everything you have done for me, giving me some tools that helped guided me to be the man that I am today and that I'm planning to be in the future. And can't wait to see what the future holds. I feel like it's going to be a great one.
And I'll say this, and Tim, I'll turn it back over to you, is that, there's a lot of metrics and outcomes that we can talk about in terms of what this relationship produces, what the NFL does, how it invests in communities. But at the end of the day, why it matters is what you see on that screen. That representation is a representation of millions of lives being changed. And when we talk about being a force and a force multiplier, that's what the potential is. That's what the opportunity is. And that's why we're so grateful to have partners like the NFL at the table.
Well, that should be the closing right there, right?